Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's live for Coach's Corner. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Penny Hounsome. I'm a holistic health mindset coach. And together with Coach Lisa Balston, we co-found this group, and also we co-own Lux Life Coaching. So, just a quick little housekeeping for those of you who are new to the group. We want to say a great big welcome. We're so thrilled that you're here and making change within your lifestyle. And we hope that we're giving you some insight in how to do that effectively. Today we want to talk about, we're sticking to the Christmas theme. I know Coach Lisa talked about lifestyle habits and what we can do for stress. So today we want to talk about how to set your boundaries and have a stress-free holiday season. So when we talk about boundaries, some of the biggest things that people think is what you're doing and what you believe in. So I'm going to break this down a little bit, because I know for a lot of people they're like, well, what is a boundary? How do I set a boundary? You know, we all talk about how to do a boundary, but the thing is, is anybody teaching us how to set them, what they are, how can they affect us? So I want to talk about that today, about how to effectively set your boundaries that you feel good about and you're not completely pissing off everybody. Now, at the end of the day, setting a boundary, there's going to be people that are mad, and that's okay, because that's not on you. And I say this to a lot of clients, and I say this to a lot of friends. How people respond is none of your business. What they think about you is also none of your business. You wanting to know what they say and think is an ego-driven action. Right? So if you want to have stress-free holiday, worry about you and your significant other and your kids, sibling, whatever the dynamic is for your family. So in order to have stress-free, we have to look at also what our belief system is. So, and traditions, because our traditions are wrapped up in our beliefs, and they're wrapped up in our values, they're wrapped up in, history, and it's this, and the stories that we tell ourselves. So when we talk about boundaries, there's quite a bit going on, because not only are we talking about the boundary, we're also talking about your beliefs, and we're talking about the stories that we tell ourselves. Okay, so let's back that up. The story that we tell ourselves is, oh, we have to do the same thing every year, someone's going to get mad. Okay, it's a story. You don't know that. Maybe other people want out of some of the traditions that you're doing as well. Right? So exercising your ability to make a change is a good thing. Okay, so then we come into our belief system. What we believe is, oh, this is how Christmas goes every year. This is just what we've done. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just right, it is. So you have the ability to change how you effectively have the day, the season, the week, whatever. Because a lot of people have extended families, so they start their holiday parties kind of the middle of the month. Some people start them at the beginning of December, so some of them are already going. So if your belief system is, oh, I have to do this, everybody's going to be disappointed, and oh, this is right? So that's a belief plus stories that we're telling ourselves. So we want to kind of execute from that and make a chart. What's really, truly important to you this year? Maybe it's been a tough year. Maybe you've had a tough couple of years. Maybe, seeing everybody all the time isn't what you want to do. So when you make a list of what you really want the day to be and how you want that day to actually be without being overly exhausted and stressed out. So for an example is oh, I got to get up and we have to have a turkey dinner at 4:00. I don't know where that comes from, but in my family, Christmas dinner was at 4:00. Weird, because we're not 80. But, it's kind of that was a tradition. But nobody was ever prepared. So that meant getting up really early in the morning, rushing through opening gifts, rushing through our Christmas breakfast, getting changed, getting all of us ready. So this is us when I was young, family of 5. And when you look at you're never when your kids, teens, whatever, they want to enjoy the presents, they want to enjoy the time, enjoy the memories, not rush around because, oh my god, you got to be at your parents' house or someone's house because you're having an early dinner. That's a tradition, that's a belief, that's like the story, like, oh, we have to do it. You don't have to do anything. Quite honestly, you don't have to do anything. Legit, you can do nothing and go to the movies all day. Right? I know. So to set that boundary, that's you understanding what you really want, how you would like the day, week, or whatever, the event, like the season to look, and then voicing that. Here comes the hard part, because everybody's like, I don't want to disappoint anybody. Your question then to yourself is, why are you worried about everybody else when it's also your time? Right? So the holiday season's for everybody, not everybody else. So when it comes to, you know what, do you really want to cook a course, a course, like a 12-course meal for 12, 15 people? Or does it stress you out? Listen, if you love to do it, have at her. No problem. But then are you really enjoying the time at the end because you're so tired? Whereas the boundary can be, I'm not doing this. And if you make me do it, there's a consequence. Okay, so this is where we set in boundaries. Everybody does the same thing. They're like, I'm going to say what I want, but there's no action. It's like when you say to your kids, if you touch that one more time, I'm going to spank your bum. I'm a Gen Xer. We did that kind of thing. So if you're not a Gen Xer and you didn't, you understand the concept. So, but then what happens is your kid touches the thing and then there's no consequence. You're just like, okay, I told you not to do that. There's no learning changed behavior. Our parents, siblings, families, spouses are the same way. Sorry, I have a piece of hair that's driving me crazy. Are the same way. So when we look at making a change, setting a boundary, we have to actually be vocal with everybody in our immediate circle to say, I'm only prepared to do this. X, Y, Z. Pick your things. Then, if you go beyond this, I'm not coming. Or I will, like, you need to have a consequence. I'm not going to fill in the blank because everybody's going to be slightly different on this and what your ability is in how you feel, what you're going to say. But the thing is, you still have to have the consequence if somebody pushes through your boundaries. Okay, for an example, having everybody over for dinner, but it's going to be late. So by 9 o'clock, you're like, great, everybody can come over. But by 9:30, you have to be out of my house. 9:35 comes. Guess what? You're handing everybody their coats. Because that's the boundary you set. You set it for 9:30. So it's very simple. Here's your coat. I'm done. Time to go home. It's not about what they need. It's about what you need. Okay, so the problem with the holidays is everybody does the same thing. They give in. Oh, because it's the holidays. Okay, but if that's the practice that you're doing, that means you're doing it all year long. Okay, because the holidays can be stressful for most people. But again, that's the history that we're holding on to, and it's the story that we're telling ourselves that Christmases and holidays are stressful. They don't need to be. You can legit just say to everybody, you know what? We're just going to order in for Christmas dinner. I've done it. I've done it for many, 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 many years. When my children were little and my ex and I had partners, they all had parents. We all had parents who were like remarried. So it's like, 16 different dinners. When your kids look at you and go, do we have to open more presents? Do we have to eat another turkey dinner? You have to reevaluate what's important. It's not about the food. It's not about the presents. It's about being around people. And if that's not what it is for you, then voice that. Okay, so you have to use your words and talk to people prior to the day when you're setting a boundary. You're not going to do it on the day when they walk in the door handing you presents and wine and the marshmallow Jello dessert. We're English Irish. It was a thing. It was gross. But anyway, it was always there. Nobody ever ate it. But you can't have everybody walk in and then say, oh, by the way, I'm gonna set a boundary and you guys have to leave. These conversations need to be had with your family and the people that you celebrate with prior, so that they understand. So that whatever emotion they're having about it, It's on them, not you. They can spend a couple of days figuring it out. But I want to come back to everybody saying how the holidays are stressful. You can take the stress away. So I made a comment about how when my kids are little, they had too many turkey dinners. So what I started doing is ordering in, or we made hamburgers on the barbecue, or like made a cheese fondue, or we ordered pizza. There's this great place in Richmond Hill in Ontario. So good. Cheese Factory. Little old Italian ladies in the back making pizza. So good. So it can look whatever the way you want it to look. But if you're creating the stress for yourself and you continually tell yourself how this is a stressful situation because you're pulling the history from what every other year has been, and you're choosing to make it stressful, then that's on you. But you can also choose to set a boundary so that there's no stress. If cooking all that, like I said earlier, if cooking all that food is too much, don't do it. If everybody's coming to your house, make it a potluck and start assigning to other people what they should bring, because you don't have to do everything on your own. Or if you get to a point where it's like, I'm tapped out, I don't want to do it, somebody else has to take it over, that's fine. I took over Christmas dinner for my mom when I was 25. And then when my daughter was 25, I was like, I tapped out and I was like, your turn. Like, I'm done. And then she was like, I don't like this. And after 2 years, she was like, nope, I'm not doing it. So she didn't. And then we started like re-looking at how Christmas looked, how the holidays looked. And then we made it more of an afternoon thing, less food, more appetizers, some drinks, tea, whatever. You can make it look any way you want. So when you're setting these boundaries, you have to look at the stories that you're telling yourself and trying to people please, and what the history is, what your beliefs are. If a belief is that, you want to have your entire family there, great. But like if you're finding it stressful to have to host everybody, then you know what? You hire, you got to clean your house, you got to wrap all the gifts, you got to do all the things. You can say to everybody, I'm hosting, but I need my house cleaned, so you're all going to pitch in for a cleaner to come to my house and clean my house. Because it doesn't have to be all you. There's other ways to do it, right? So if you're looking at that, it's like, right, you got to decorate your house. Great. Call your siblings and say, okay, if you guys want to have this here, you're going to come over on the Saturday prior and you're going to help me decorate the house. Move it around. And if they don't come and help, then they don't come to the day. Boundary. You need to help in order to make this a great event. This is how you're going to help. And if you don't help, you're not invited on the day. Boundary. Action. Your ask, your action, your consequence. So that's when you're setting a boundary. Now this goes for all things. It doesn't have to just be like the holiday season. This comes into play for everything that we do for our whole life. Every single day of the year. So if you're feeling stressed at work, you're feeling stressed about your kids, you're feeling stressed about your spouse, you're feeling stressed because you're like, you work all day and you come home and then you still have to do everything. That's your choice. You chose to do that. Or you can choose to set boundaries and redistribute the work. And everybody watching this is going to be like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. You just haven't done it. So it's new. So when something's new, it makes it harder. But with practice, holiday season's a good time to start practicing, making some change. Make it look the way you want it to look. And then you can stop telling yourself it's so stressful. You can stop saying, oh, we have to do this. Just because you've done it for decades or whatever, it doesn't mean you have to continue to do it. You can choose to change traditions. You can change anything you want to change any time of the day, any time of the year. And why not start with the holidays? Guys, that's me for today. That's setting your boundaries, having a stress-free holiday. Coach Lisa and I are going to continue to talk about how we can help you through the holidays, make them as pleasant, wonderful as they should be, and stress-free, because let's stop saying that they're stressful. Let's just say how we're going to make them our own. Guys, that's me for this week. We'll see you next week.